And there we go again. Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stream. We're just in here chilling. We're live. Good to see all of you in the chat room. Shout out to everyone. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Just kind of chilling a little bit tonight. Got a couple things I do want to talk about. Thank you to everyone who was just hanging out with us over on TYT. That was cool. Always cool. Little struggle there at the end, having to talk about our friend and our comrade, Michael Brooks. And I just didn't realize 2020 was that long. Be honest with you. This has been the longest year. What are we talking about? It's been at least 10 decades, right? It feels like 100. I mean, things are so much different now on this side of 2020. And now the fact that we have a vaccine, such as it is, emergency use, we'll take it. I mean, they're taking it. I am going to take it, but I'm like last in line. That's what I'm saying. So I digress. I just 2020 has been a hell of a year. And so when they threw Michael Brooks' name out and he caught me off guard, I'm like, God, dog, we lost them this year. I really kind of want to focus though on kind of like just how time plays with your mind versus like Michael. But just gotta mention them up top, you know. That's my dude. That's my dude. That said, Nina Turner is running for I'm sorry, for Congress. Nina Turner is running for Congress. I already pushed her. I'm sorry. I was talking about Nina 2024, whatever. I'm sorry. All I know is Nina's running for Congress. Don't let that slip. Make any headlines anywhere. Okay. That's just me. Being excited about the kind of fire that's getting ready to go to the U.S. House of Representatives. Okay, folks, I am excited because, and look at here. Can I show y'all something? Like, I don't know if I want to wade into anything else. I'm already in one Twitter war. But the folks who lined up behind Nina, day one, square one, no questions asked, boom. You got our endorsement. Didn't even know I was going to talk about this tonight. Absolutely didn't know. Hello, somebody. The people who lined up behind her right away. See, it is the clarity of God. I wish I could make you guys hear what I hear in my head. Like the words. Sometimes my brain just moves too fast for my mouth and I can't get out what I'm trying to say. But there is a level of clarity that exists between the common bonds of people who are black, but also black and progressive. Because in these United States of America, in the Democratic Party, the way this thing is set up, you could either be the most beloved black person in the club or the most hated black person in the club. And the difference is whether or not you choose to just challenge the status quo, right? There's nothing deep. There's no more. I don't feel like there's any moral failing. I don't ascribe, I think, I don't look at any neoliberal black people, and I don't look at them with the lens of suspicion like, oh, you're just greedy. It's kind of like we always make these moral for instance, I disagree with you all on a strategy, and your moral judgment call of me now is that I'm a sellout. Okay. It really shows the limited capacity that you have to even have a reasonable disagreement. Now, in terms of the guy who is at the top of it, I mean, he can always kiss my ass. You know, Jimmy Dore can kiss my ass. But in context, anytime. Like, I'm not afraid of any of that kind of rhetorical jujitsu or any of that. That's fine. Set him aside. I'm talking about the argument and the capacity to actually, and watch how all this ties together. I'm about to mess y'all up because you think I'm getting off topic. I started talking about this, about Nina Turner going to Congress, and the fact that looking at the people who support her right out the gate, because there's a commonality that exists between our experiences in the country as black people as well as progressives, because one of those experiences takes us into the Democratic Party, where if you actually have the nerve to speak out against the status quo, you end up getting thrown into the category of the despised. But you would only do something like that if you really believed it. That's the common bond. And the only reason this conversation keeps sneaking up in my discourse is because I feel like you all really do not understand how patently absurd it is for anyone to believe that you're more progressive than black progressives in a white supremacist classist society. White supremacist capitalistic society. How could you possibly think and forget about ranking us, but then throw your judgment on us? Throw your judgment on us and say, oh, that person's a sellout. Oh, watch your mouth. Non-black person, as you speak to black people about our authentic blackness. Just take into consideration that you're talking to the people who are surviving your twin evils. So it's that common bond that I saw this morning or all day long is people are like, day one, square one, we are going to back Nina Turner. And maybe they hadn't thought it all the way through like I just did, but they didn't have to, because what I just did was to contextualize for people who don't have that same common bond. I'm giving you all of the dynamics of it. I'm explaining how that bond works. And we don't even have to talk about it. We just nod, depending on which way, just like, hey, it's the nod. And it's a beautiful goddamn thing. It's a beautiful thing to be able to know that the common bond that these people think the common bond, you honestly think that the common bond that black people have in this country is merely race. You think the the conversations that are being had in this country are only amplified at a time when a black person, if it's a race issue, bring on a black person. Man, we out here surviving both. We are literally out here surviving all of you. And you want to limit us to only, So that's a part of the nod too, right? I mean, I have a million and one stories that I can tell because they're there, they exist, and we all have the same experiences with this system in this country. And it always was more than race. Listen, folks, if you ever wanted to do something right, let me set this up properly. I need you to see what I'm trying to say. Black folks, yes, black folks, yes, sit down for a second, my white progressive friend, and learn something real quick. Because this is what you're literally missing. And when you take into context the scale and the scope of not only my platform by myself, but my crew's platform, and their reach and their role, and the fact that Marcus Farrell was, advising Bernie Sanders, telling him the same thing back in 2016 that I was saying on my little, raggedy YouTube channel when I had like 5 people watching me. We've been trying to tell you this for a long time. That's what I'm trying to say. For a long time, people who have known this have been trying to tell you this for that very long period of time, and you still ain't listening. You're still not listening. And it's cool. It's cool, man. It's cool. It's cool because we learned how to survive your capitalistic system. But if you ever wanted to do something right, you think that you have to take time to explain Marx to black folks to convince us to do something that's just right? Sure, we got a couple of conservatives, but there's a radical DNA in black folks that been knowing y'all gonna destroy yourself with your little raggedy capitalism. We've been the recipients of this sociopathic system, greater so than any of you. So it's hilarious that you honestly think that you can. That's just what I think it really is. If you ask me, what this is all about is whether or not they can control these niggas who are progressive. Fuck with it. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. Just let that sit for a second. Because the amount of unfathomable outrage over a disagreement to which you turn and now judge everybody that you disagree with to be unprogressive. I'm like, wait a minute, there's something more going on here. I'm like, it's a dumb idea from a dumb dude who's been dumb for a long time. And y'all motherfuckers know this dude is dumb. And y'all are out here going to war over this? So I'm like, wait a minute. What the hell is going on? Y'all been know I don't respect Jimmy Dore. And the only reason I mention his name is because it is directly connected to actions that we're trying to accomplish to actually win progress. Yo, we out here working. Here it is. This is what it is. I honestly think part of it is that AOC represents a shakeup not only of the establishment, but also of the progressive regime empire. So does Ilhan. So does the squad. So does Corey. So does Jamal. So will Nina. There is a progressive infrastructure, ladies and gentlemen, of a whole lot of money. A friend of mine said today, he said, Ben, could you just stop talking about the money? And I said I was going to talk about it until somebody complained. You know, I'm just that kind of dude. I'm just like, I'm going to press an issue until somebody says enough. Oh, man. There is a progressive infrastructure in this country that has enough money to have done any revolution that you ever wanted to do. If you put it in the hands of black folks. Why? Because we're not trying to walk away with millions of dollars a year in salary. So anyway, the point is that the black, it's funny. I said this last night and I want to echo it again. Me personally, I've been black all my life, obviously. I'm so black, they have Negro on my birth certificate. Okay. I'm so black, I have Negro on my birth certificate. But I didn't put my blackness first and foremost. And this is going to sound crazy to some of you, but because skin color is not universal. So my blackness was a very, very, very close second to the truth. The thing that drove me more than anything else is the truth, not my blackness. I said this last night, and I want you to understand why, when you hear me talk right now, henceforth and forevermore, the reason it's gotta be black is because y'all are honestly missing it because you can't see the blackness. You're missing the push to an egalitarian society where we get rid of the greed that saturates everything around us. What I'm trying to tell you is African Americans, particularly, who have suffered underneath the boot of this empire, of course we want to tear it. Well, okay, I was trying to do it without just saying it straight out. Who you think want to tear this motherfucker down more than black folks? You think you radical? Who do you think wants to challenge this system? So going back to why I mentioned the reason I mentioned truth, which I always put above my blackness, is because truth showed me that you all are just missing the very clear puzzle. Look at the people who have been at the bottom of your society, any society, and the people who can survive at the bottom of your society, survive and then thrive. You might want to listen to them. This is not philosophical. This is not black superiorism, black supremacy. But just think about it, would you, my friends? The height of efficiency comes from the person who had the very least resources at their disposal, but they still had to manage how to survive because the system doesn't give us a safety net worth a damn. So every one of us are out here on our own trying to struggle how to survive. And at the bottom of the heap of society, you got black people who are surviving both racism and capitalism at the same goddamn time. So, riddle me this. If you find a black person who makes it out of the working class, of course that person is overwhelmingly going to be in opposition to the entire system. We don't have to read Marx to understand that there's something wrong with the United States of America. We don't have to read Marx to understand that you're charging more rent than I make. By design for blackness, we are designed to be the height of the exploited. Black people, you literally exploited our bodies for capital. Now listen, I ain't saying you can't disagree with me. Like, we can have arguments, but don't you ever in your life question my progressivism. And you might want to think twice about questioning the progressivism of any black person, because we come from a lineage of people whose bloodline was literally the objects of exploitation that built this capitalistic system. So there's something in our blood that is more radical than you could ever be, because you have to learn it through a book. We learn it through our goddamn veins. Somebody said you should read Marx, though. I concur. It's an easy place to start. Communist Manifesto. Easy place to start. Get a good introduction. But we've been known, y'all. But once we realized y'all weren't serious about this thing, that you were just as comfortable killing us, killing a black revolutionary, why should we keep sacrificing black lives on the altar of your sins? Why should we be more revolutionary than you? Riddle me that, Batman. Why should there ever be an expectation of us to be more revolutionary than white folks when y'all showing us y'all will kill us? Medgar Evers, Fred Hampton, rather. Right, the list clearly goes on all the way down to Eric Gardner, Tamir Rice. Y'all have shown us, you have shown us that the moment we step out willing to use the conviction of our DNA, I mean, it's in us so much. It took my wife to it took my wife to stand me down. So, and then it dawned on me, I'm ready to set this motherfucker off. And y'all still talking about goddamn, was it cancel culture? What was it, everybody? What was it that white socialists were concerned with during the George Floyd protest? It was like cancel culture or something. That was the big thing. While you missed the greatest opportunity that you're going to get. There's not going to be another summer like 2020 in your lifetime. You're not going to get another summer like 2020. So then when we realize as a people, similarly to how I realize as an individual, that y'all are not serious about revolution because you've had enough money to fund this thing since probably the 60s, 70s, 80s, definitely since 2016. But y'all want us to run out here into the fray and sacrifice all that we've been building, not because of you, but despite of you. You want us to waste our good political capital over some cockamamie idea in order to make you feel like you're progressive. So you can go ahead and stroke your little progressivism. So the thing is what I just took the last 20, 30 minutes to describe to you is something that I could just look over at Nina and just be like, just do this. And in that moment, because we all suffer the same experiences with y'all, man. Come on. Can we just be real? Why is it every black person I know in these progressive spaces got the same goddamn story? Why? Why is it that every single one of us at some level, in some way, with something, one way or another, one year, I'm not putting no names, no mouths, listen, we have all at sundry times, right? Sundry. Brought out my church, lexicon. At sundry times, every single black person who has done anything in this country has suffered the same result dealing with y'all white folks. Progressive white folks, not conservatives. You get a lot more respect from conservatives. Which is why I'll never cut off my friends in Mississippi, I went to PhD program with, and they are the dopest. I mean, they're just really good human beings. I think they might have voted for Donald Trump. I'm afraid to ask. I'm not going to ask them because I don't want to have that existential crisis. But I'm not going to cut my conservative friends off when my progressive friends have been destroying black lives. Not with the bullet, per se. But we're just telling us you're talking about race too much. Yeah, I think we don't want to cover that Colin Kaepernick story anymore. Yeah, we're not going, we're at there's any number of stories that you could fill in there. And every single black person working in progressive politics will literally tell you the same story. The particulars are different, but the structure of the story is the same. We came in here with the sincerest of intentions to change the world because that shit's in our DNA. That's just what we do. We save people because we had to save ourselves from your broken ass system, capitalism and white supremacy. We saved ourselves. And if you listen to us, we could save you. But that might mean you need to make, instead of 2 million on this campaign or 2 million on this project or 2 million on this, company, you might make $1 million. Well, we got to fire these niggas now. You got to get this man trying to take my money. And so therein lies the truth, is that even in these progressive socialist spaces, you all suffer from the same goddamn demon of greed. And black folks, we just haven't had the luxury. Some of us have. Some of us have escaped. Some of us are doing really good. Some people were living like Bill Cosby while he was on NBC. Yeah. I don't know none of them. I mean, I've heard of them. I'm sure they exist. No, I'm joking. Obviously, I know wealthy black people. But I'm not looking at the outlier. I'm looking at the number. I'm looking at the data, man. The overwhelming experience of black people in this country is at the bottom of everything. And you all want to, now this is where I draw the line with my conservative friends in Mississippi. If one of them ever asserted that what's happening in the black community is a product of a inherent moral failing, yeah, no, we can't be friends. Because that's the definition of racism, right? You believe that there's a inherent moral failing in blackness that causes all of these economic and societal problems that we have. Oh, no, baby, you're a racist. Right? But then if you ask the question, if it's not inherent, what is it? And you say, well, it has to be systemic, because if it's not something that's coming from them, it's got to be exogenous. And what that requires then is a conversation about how we order our society. And when we have a conversation about ordering our society, we run into the same problem with this global order that we do with white progressives. We think we want a better society until we realize it's going to cost us a little bit of money. We think we want to support black voices until we realize it's going to cost us some money. There is a power shift that's happening. There's a power shift that's happening that has to happen. It is a power shift of black and brown, indigenous, LGBTQIA, marginalized people who are standing up, creating their own powers, their own institutions of power, and saying, hey, we would love to rock with you all if you want. We really do see eye to eye on politics, on economics. Like, you know what I mean? To varying degrees, we all want the same thing. But if y'all gonna keep tripping like this, we're gonna do this shit without you. You actually thought that this was a moment of the left holding politicians accountable. You morons. See, this is how much you need our help, because you don't even realize this is a moment of us showing you that we'll do this shit without you. Because you clearly cannot do it without us. Now, can you? Shout out to Marcus Farrell. And that's all I got to say. Good night.